And we're back! Episode 17. Maybe our biggest episode yet because we have the man, Frankie Palmeri of Emmure is with us today. What's going on, brother?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Dude, super stoked to have you on. Brian, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been awesome, man. It has been awesome.
Lovely. It's kind of hard to have a good week when it's a pandemic and everything sucks.
Yep, I've been inside and inside.
Yeah, you got to wear a mask when you go to fucking Popeyes. It's brutal.
Oh no, so unfortunate.
All right, so we're going to start off every episode the same exact way. The Tekashi 6ix9ine update, a.k.a. the Tekashi Death Watch. Tekashi is still alive. It's crazy. He's even shocked that he's still alive. He's officially off house arrest next week. I think he temporarily deactivated his Instagram, maybe to look better to the courts. Don't know. He has a 22-man security team. Who doesn't? And they're going to protect him while he does community service. I mean, I guess you need the protection when you snitch on all the 9 Trey Bloods, so that's a little excessive. Frankie, are you at all a fan of Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Passively, yeah. I'm entertained by him.
Okay, that's a great way to put it. Most of the people we have on don't like him at all or understand like the trolling tactics he uses or anything. Have you caught any of his new music or videos or anything like that?
I watched was it Gooba? Is that what it's called? I checked that out. It was all right.
It's not bad for being filmed in one room.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I have a very, like, I don't know what you call it, I guess a very low bar for, like, music videos, especially when it's, like, an artist like that. So I don't really expect anything too, like, off the chains in terms of, like, artistic integrity. But it was cool. Like, I liked watching, like, chicks shake their ass. Him, like,
the Rainbow Girls.
The good qualities.
Yeah. And him just being, like, obnoxious and stuff. Like, it's not a song I, like, ever need to listen to ever again, but it was entertaining when I heard it.
It's pretty funny that everything he says is just one big troll. Like, you know, you mad, you big sad. Tell me how I came home with a big bag. Everything's great.
Shout out to Frankie for taking 17 episodes for you being our biggest 6ix9ine fan outside of us, so we appreciate that.
And the bar is set so low.
And the bar is set low. You explained it perfectly. And, you know, the most impressed that I am right now is that he's actually getting tactically trained professionals to be a part of his security team. A couple of them are former military members, if I'm not mistaken. So apparently he is coming equipped, and that is to be taken literally. So he has some potentially trained killers on his squad to be protecting him during his community service because, you know, it's 6ix9ine.
Legal trained killers, unlike the illegal trained killers he used to have.
Yeah, you know, they're the real ones to worry about over here. So, yeah, I'm you know, I expect him to get through it fine. I expect him to come through unscathed. But we're going to get like a headline.
He's like the hip-hop King Joffrey from
King Joffrey Joe.
Like he really is. Like never could never be hard by himself. Always has to have a gang of people around him to act hard. Like it's kind of funny.
That's a good point. I found it kind of interesting that the 2 people that he for sure snitched on, part of his gang, they were the 2 that were responsible for kidnapping him. If you were kidnapped, would you still stick to the G code and not snitch on these people?
You'd have to tell me what the G code is. What exactly is the G code? Is the G code getting kidnapped? What does that mean?
Valid point. The G code is allegedly where you just don't snitch. Now,
don't be a rat.
I think the Stop Snitching campaign was to stop like confidential informants, people who go out, do the crime, and have no intention of doing the time, and so they just plan to dime someone out to avoid all jail time as like a get out of jail free card.
Right.
Whereas I look at Tekashi, you know, these guys kidnapped you, threatened your life, fucked your baby mama. Sounds pretty shitty. I would have a hard time not diming those types of people out to get a shorter sentence. He was facing like 30-some years. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I remember when he got busted. I was thinking, because I follow like DJ academics on the internet and stuff, so I catch like all the news about him and stuff. I don't know. I don't really have like much of my own take on it. What would I do if I were him? I mean, anyone that gets asked that question, I notice they always say like, "Well, I never would be in that position, so that would never happen to me." But I guess if I had to be in his shoes, I don't know. It's like you've got like this insane opportunity to be like a megastar, and it could be over in an instant. Are you going to protect that? You know, I guess it comes down to what you value more? Do you value the opinion of like the streets and these people who have pretty much like shown you they don't really care about your well-being, or do you care about yourself? So I guess just gotta figure that out. But thankfully, I'm not involved with any gang-related activities. So.
No criminal activities, thank God.
Words of wisdom from Frankie over here, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
He might need you in his corner. Maybe you should follow 6ix9ine, help him out a little.
Yeah, you
bit.
should be his legal counsel.
Give him some.
Nah, I think that's fine.
Okay, so moving on from Tekashi, we'll check back up on him next week. Hopefully he makes it that long. Our boy Corey Taylor from Slipknot has recently released some new music. I know it's had a lot of mixed reviews on the internet. I thought it was cool that he collaborated with Tech9 again. I don't necessarily like the music that's come out, and I was worried that I wasn't going to like this because it seems that whenever you take a cool band and you have a vocalist do a solo project, it doesn't turn out to be super cool like you expect. They always want to do something different than what the band is, when all I want is Slipknot. Did you guys listen to the music? Do you like it?
I had no idea. I had no idea Corey Taylor put out any solo music, so I'm out of the loop on that one.
You're not missing a whole lot unless you're like really in the need of like Stone Sour Gone More Country.
Let me give you all you need to hear. He has a replica like BMF belt that is labeled CMFT for Corey motherfucking Taylor, and he rocks it proudly throughout the music video. I refer to it as post-country hardcore because I believe that that's what it is. And, you know, I feel like I like it because what we're getting like a regenerated Kid Rock, which is kind of nice. And I think that it's going to be...
We don't need more Kid Rock, dude. We finally got away from that.
No, come on. We all need Kid Rock, especially in these times. America needs him. So second to that, this is my opinion on Corey Taylor. I'm a Stone Sour fan, right? I love Slipknot. Keep making the Slipknot music. You're doing great there. It's come to the conclusion that you're better behind a mask. So I think that you should continue this Corey Taylor monarch, like behind the scream mask, because I think that would ideally fit the gimmick that you're going for. And you know that
is that what it is? Is that what I'm missing? Is the mask? Because I don't like Stone Sour.
I mean,
I thought the idea was cool.
I mean, the first like Stone Sour jams from back in the day were pretty good. Let's be real. The first Stone Sours, when you first found out Corey Taylor was doing another band, those were dope. Those were good.
I thought Stone Sour was like a shitty drink or something.
It probably is. It probably is.
All right, that's about as much press.
That's all I had.
We're gonna have to give Corey Taylor for the week.
That's it. Sorry, Corey.
I mean, he had some wrestlers in the videos. That was cool. Slipknot does the NXT theme, so that was kind of cool.
He was a wrestler.
Yeah, for like what, one event. That doesn't fucking count. In other asshole news, Yellowcard finally decided to drop their lawsuit against Juice Wrld, suing him for copyright over the song Lucid Dreams. It's kind of shitty to sue a dead rapper and to keep the lawsuit going, which they came out a couple weeks ago and said that they were still in litigation and still pressing forward with it. And then just this week, they came out and said they dropped it. Good move, bad move, good for artistic infringement. Is Yellowcard dickheads for suing a dead rapper?
Why did they sue him?
Apparently the song samples a Yellowcard song in the background.
I mean, did Juice Wrld talk to the band about it? Or I guess
I don't think he had a chance to after he ate a handful of pills and died on the tarmac.
Yeah.
It makes it a little difficult.
Was the music released like post?
It was not. No.
It was released while he was still alive.
Okay.
I believe the lawsuit started while he was alive, and then it was just, I don't know if like the websites like the Metal Injections of the world were running rampant with it, just saying like they were pressing forward to make a headline, but they were still in litigation as of last week. And
it's probably hard to pull the brakes off of something like that when you have like a record label involved and other hands in the business that are kind of attached to the band, not just the band personally. So I can understand how it kind of reads ugly. Like, oh, they're still doing that. Like, ew, like, you know, respect this guy. But like, I'm sure it's not just like them personally making phone calls like, hey man, so should we still do this? It's probably more like lawyers are investing time, money's been spent, like, you know, just completely exiting that strategy. It seems kind of complicated. So I understand that perspective. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they have a right, I guess, to feel like you know, their music is being copyright infringed or whatever it is that they thought it was, you know.
I thought that when it comes to cases, and I could be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, and I definitely haven't been in a band that involved lawyers or anything like that. But if you rip off someone's song, like I know the Cranberries had a case against a foreign act back in the day, and the songs were identical, and so they won a case. But this isn't. This is like short samples of a Yellowcard like chorus or something, I believe, and it's got filters over it. It's like really muffled, but it's not an outright like rip off of a Yellowcard song. Does that have does that change anything?
I think I'm surprised no one in Juice Wrld's like camp or team ever reached out to Yellowcard, like, yo, Yellowcard, fuck with you. Like, are you comfortable with this? I bet the band would have been like, yeah, sure. I think the fact that that conversation never happened, it opened the gate for like, again, litigation and them being like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you're not gonna you can't just. I mean, look, I don't know how people feel about Yellowcard, but I know that Yellowcard at one point in my lifetime was a big fucking deal. They were a huge band.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that still rings true today. And when you kind of like start tampering with that kind of entity, you can expect to have some kind of like feedback from them. So I'm not surprised.
I don't think rappers necessarily handle things the right way and reach out like that. Like that makes total sense.
All of them. Yeah, but I mean, there's maybe not him personally, but someone smarter than him could have been like, "Hey, man, look, like this is a cool sample. Like it's maybe he was a big Yellowcard fan, so maybe it just kind of came together that way." But to not address them personally or let them know like, "Hey, we're sampling your song," I think is really where things went sideways. But whatever. Hopefully, now that like he's buried and stuff, they can also bury the lawsuit if they want to. I mean, it's still open for litigation, in my opinion. But I think it would be probably a better taste to drop it.
It's
kind of
weird.
Who's to say their people didn't talk to their people and they did come to some kind of agreement? It's not going to be handled legally right. I mean, that kind of stuff happens all the time. So it's not to say that it did get squashed. Personally, I think Frankie brings up a great point. Yeah, you professionally, you got to do your due diligence. You got to go out there and you got to make sure you get the right to use the samples and get the right to use the songs. Do I think that artists that are, in that position should we don't know the extents that Yellowcard went to try to go about handling it, right? And Frankie also had a point where, hey, the label's involved. At what point is it really the band pushing that, or is it the label and the execs behind it? It is kind of nice to see him drop it posthumously, right? Because he's no longer with us, so it's kind of nice to see that. Other than that, I feel like they probably got a lot of hate on social media. I know that we weren't the biggest fan of them. We all know how we feel about the copyright stuff, though. I'm still bitter on U2 and Evergreen Terrace, so that's another thing.
Do you remember that song back in the mid-2000s? Little Flip did Game Over, and it sampled the shit out of Pac-Man and a bunch of Atari games. Like the whole beat was Atari games and shit. That was like, you hear that and you're like, oh, clearly this guy had a conversation with Namco about using all these sounds. Nope, sure enough, the producer Fury got sued hard over that and lost.
Oh no.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why I say I don't think rappers reach out there. Like, you're right, there should be someone smarter in his crew that reaches out to these other artists. But if they're letting him get on a plane with all these drugs and the best idea is to eat them before getting searched, I don't think he surrounded himself with great people. It's a whole other story, though.
Let's be honest. I mean, writing's kind of on the wall with that one.
It's a shitty way to go out.
Get better people in your corner, for one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I think when you're that successful, it's hard to find people that are gonna like actually tell you yes and no in the right time in your life. They're kind of just more worried about like, I need to get my check. So whatever keeps this guy like floating in that direction that I can get paid, that's what they keep moving. So no one's gonna, hey, Juice Wrld, like, don't bring those tolls on there. He'd probably be like, well, fuck you. You're not on this flight. You know what I'm saying? It's
a valid point.
So I don't know. I don't want to like speak out of turn or say anything about him because I don't know personally, but I feel like a lot of times when you see successful people that fuck up, it's usually because there's no one around them willing to have the balls to be like, look, man, you're really fucking around. And,
preach. Fuck, preach, Frankie.
Yes. Yeah, God, I wish every Warped Tour band felt that way, because they probably still have way more fans right now.
Can we make a fucking public service announcement right now with Frankie Palmeri and just be like, yo, get better people in your fucking corner. Get better people. Don't just have yes men. Don't just have people that are going to go around with whatever stupid idea you have because you're an artist. Chances are you're going to have some stupid ideas. You're going to go to some extremes. You're a fucking artist.
It's hard to know who those people are. It's really more, I guess, the people that are in that position to like be living off of someone like that, whether it's security team, producers, his posse, whatever. There needs to be one person who's like, yo, I need to, if this person were me, I'd want someone to watch out for me, you know. But a lot of people are too selfish to realize that and always worry about, you know, the check that's coming in. So, I mean, I think it's happened with R. Kelly too. Like so many people around R. Kelly all the time. Like not one person was like, yo, R.
Yes.
Like, they knew it was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that kind of culture of like having a bunch of yes men around you, having people like you said that just want the paycheck. I think that's what has created that whole culture around a lot of those bands that were like sexually mistreating people or abusing people. There's a few that are in the spotlight right now that came out, and it always makes me think like these guys are on tour, they have a tour manager, like that guy's not speaking up or like getting in their ear like, hey, maybe you shouldn't bring a 16-year-old girl on your bus. Like that dude. Like you'd rather take the paycheck over the like the charges? Like, come on! Like
there are some like situations like you're mentioning where there needs to be a babysitter, but there needs to be someone to be like, hey, dude, like I get it, like you're a rock star, you're a guitar, you know, these girls want to fuck you, but like let's set some boundaries here. And then there's times where like the tour manager is just as much of a fuck up as everyone else in the fucking crew, and no one. So it's like there's no one there to like, you know, kind of dictate what is or isn't. And I don't know. I think it's just kind of like unfortunate that, you know, in general people get caught up in whatever lifestyle choices they make, you know. But,
that's exactly what it is. It's unfortunate because you have a lot of people that are in that situation and they take advantage of it. They take advantage of a good situation and they take advantage of people that probably wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for their own talents and their own hard work, right? And then these leeches, these people that just want to ride coattails come in, and it's unfortunate because this is the kind of lifestyle that brings success and it brings about, you know, riches for people, and you become idols in the eyes of your fans and the people that follow you. You become leaders in a way.
You have a power over your fans at that point, so to mistreat them is like 1,000 times worse because you're strangers. You're basically strangers you've never met, but they know a shit ton about you through the internet and your music, and they feel a connection with you.
And someone in that connection should have that wherewithal. Someone within that connection should understand that power and that influence that they do have and have a tight grip on that kind of thing. And say, hey, we're not going to let any wild cards get in here. We're not going to let anything go astray and go wild because you have incidents like this. And it ends up ruining careers, unfortunately.
I've had some really good tour managers on the road, and I've had some really, really bad ones.
Yeah.
And it's night and day, man. It matters because this is a guy that you got to like work with, coordinate with. At some point there might come a time when he's gonna act like your boss, so you have to have that dynamic where it's like, okay, I can take these orders. There's a lot of bands that, for the most part, the ones I've met, they like to get someone that's professional, that handles their shit, but then there's also ones that go and take a manager who's not gonna stop them, who is gonna attempt to babysit and fail miserably at it. I know for years Johnny Craig didn't want a real tour manager because he was kind of doing his own thing with a bunch of different shit. Yeah, I think everyone knows the story with that. He always had guys that attempted to babysit him, but like there was never anyone that could actually get him to obey. And I mean, that's just the dude he is. So it was always funny when I heard someone on the internet say, oh, I got this new job with Johnny Craig. Well, you know, that's just like a glorified babysitter, except the kid's never going to listen to you, and you're going to be gone within a year. Like, no one survives a couple tours with him. That's why he doesn't keep tour managers. Just be fucking responsible on the road, people.
I mean, that's just it. Everybody's afraid of that. Hey, you're never gonna tour again. You think you're fucking gonna go on tour again? Yeah, right. Everybody's afraid of that conversation. Yeah, right, buddy. Everyone's afraid of getting shut down and not having that opportunity come around again. So they become enablers, unfortunately, and that they become this weird, like, subservient. Oh, I better just fit in. We're seeing this kind of in a bunch of different narratives all around right now, becoming just complicit and like passive, allowing things to happen when you see them, and it goes into every industry, and unfortunately we're seeing the dark side of it in like the entertainment world.
There's no blueprint for how to act when you get successful.
Yes.
You know, that's another thing. Like, hopefully, if you're like, what's the saying? Like, wise people learn from other people's mistakes, but smart people learn from their own, or something like that. So I think right now you're starting to see like this awakening. People are going like, oh shit, like, okay, now I see the follies of other people, and it's going to start kind of like pressing that, mindset of like, carefree, like fuck it, I'm untouchable kind of attitude that I think a lot of people had for a certain amount of time. But as you can tell, culturally and socially, like now there's been a big shift where people are kind of like out to, I don't know, I don't want to say deplatform anybody, but they want to kind of like rectify situations that only now they're realizing were fucked up. Like, I mean, I don't have to fucking say it to you. They happen every other week. There's a new one. So
the same shit that's going on right now with these bands that we're not going to name has been going on 10, 15 years ago, but it seemed as if it wasn't coming to light, or no one really wanted to cancel a band back in 2008. They didn't really give a shit. Now, cancel culture is real. It's like there's people on Twitter like arguing about who to cancel next. There's people dedicated to tweeting these bands that have yet to release statements and acknowledge like their bandmates' accusations or say anything. And the kids are pissed. They don't understand, like, why would this band not come out and acknowledge it? Like, clearly they know. And it's like, obviously, the merch sales are going to dip and the album streams are going to dip. They're going to lose their fans. And if they say anything, it's an admission. And so nobody wants to do that. I think it's just a good rule of thumb. If you don't fuck kids, you're pretty good to go.
Well, I mean, come on. You also can't be a complete fucking annihilating asshole. Like,
yeah, don't be an asshole. Like that's a
feel
good rule in life. But like, if you're in a band, just maybe try to like not fuck your fans.
Yeah, that should be rule number one for a lot.
I know it's difficult because there's like we talked about this in a previous episode. If you're in a popular band, you're a good looking dude, you got the style like all these bands have, you're gonna get girls that are just throwing it at you, and it's really difficult. Like you said, there's no blueprint on how to act when you're successful. We talked to Matty Mullins about that. He said that there was a bunch of stuff that he had said and done that he wished he hadn't, because he hadn't really grown up yet by the time that he reached some level of fame, and it really affects people. I can't imagine how I would act if, like, God forbid I was 19 and thrown. Oh man, I would have been canceled by 20. It would have been before I was even able to drink.
We still might
be. Been bad.
We still might be.
Yeah, maybe by episode 150 when I get that sex change, we'll definitely be canceled.
Oh shit! Oh, you're gonna do it? Is this the announcement?
Yeah. So Frankie, I had this theory. If like by episode 150, I could go get a sex change, and then maybe I could go and like bang these bands that I don't like, and then get them canceled in return. Bad idea?
I'll fuck you first, man. Let's fucking
yes,
for a ride, dude.
Sweet. Yes. That's support.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm
just
so
don't
glad
talk to me when you do it.
As long as we do it to Goodbye to the Gallows, man, I'm so there.
That's the only way I fuck anyway, so.
Dang, you heard it here first.
Every metalhead in San Antonio just got a boner.
That's
Yo,
right.
did you hear fucking Frankie only fucks dudes? Oh,
dude, he only bangs the Goodbye to the Gallows. Dude, he's just like me.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit, bro. Oh.
The last headline I have, are you a Kanye West fan by any chance?
Yeah.
All right,
Beautiful.
sweet. A lot of people don't like him anymore, so I have to ask that. Kanye claims that he's going to have a biblical healer as his running mate for president. I can't believe he's still running for president. Like, I wish he would have like done it official, and it would have been cool, but this is appearing to be more and more like a bipolar breakdown than anything. Frankie knows a thing or two about breakdowns. He apparently his running mate's his biblical healer. She deleted her website, never acknowledged this, so like who the fuck knows if this is even true. Kim Kardashian went to visit Kanye in Wyoming. TMZ says that she was crying. Dude, how does TMZ like know this? Like they weren't meeting in public at a McDonald's. They're like at his Wyoming ranch. So like, do they just have people posted up like snipers, like spying on them? Is that how this works? And how do I get that job?
I don't know. I have a theory that people like Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, stuff like that, they're pretty much like addicted to attention and fame. And I think that him running for president, for presidency is the same thing as Donald Trump in the 90s being like, I'm going to run for president. Just more attention. More people be like, oh, you hear about this? It's like when you're so rich and famous, like what's the next thing you could do? Like, what else is there to do except for like become a fucking like literal world leader? And he can't make a new shoe or make a new song or anything that's like.
But he definitely did make a bunch of new shoes that didn't look good.
Oh no, I'm just saying what's the next thing to keep raising?
You can't accomplish.
Exactly. So people who are like diehard conservatives who probably don't even like rap music or whatever could be like, Kanye West for president? Like, who's that? Even if they don't, for some reason, have not heard their names, they've been living under a rock. Now they know who Kanye West is. So it's just about perpetuating the fame and presence of your brand, I feel. And that's just how I look at it. I don't think it's that more than that.
Same can be said for Donald Trump. Look at him. I mean, he did the fucking exact same thing.
But Trump didn't have an album to promote.
No, but he fucking had buildings with his names on it. I mean, like, your name's everywhere. You're already a TV
I think if he would have had an album, I would have felt
bigger?
differently about this.
How do you have...
With Donald Trump, it's like this to me. He always said he would run for presidency, kind of out of boredom, like just for fun. And
right.
And so he said he'd run Republican because he knew he'd get the Republican vote.
Yep.
And there's a really famous clip of Obama's last dinners or whatever, with presidential dinners they do, and he roasts Donald Trump. He's
hard.
He goes, Donald's in the house tonight, and he goes, Donald, I really respect you. You've got everything in the world, but there's one thing you'll never be, and that's the president of the United States. And then fast forward a fucking year later, and my man's like, yo, I got that job, bro. I got that seat. And I think that people don't realize that moments like that really motivate people to do fucking wild shit. So
yes.
You probably went home and was like, this motherfucker fucking roasted me at this fucking dinner. You know what? Fuck that. I'm actually gonna fucking, and he fucking did it. And you gotta respect that a little bit. Someone who's just gonna get shit on and goes like, no.
It's
big time. So
it's vindication. It's fucking. It's. You said what? And I mean, let's be real. Donald Trump is all about the power and the influence, and you can't become more powerful than the fucking president of the United States. I'm sorry, but that's you win. You win in your roles, right? So now he'll fucking go to the grave, being able to say that he was president of the United States. He was the most powerful man in the world for some short fucking period. Donald Trump was the most powerful person on the planet. What the fuck ever. I guess it's okay. Do we give Kanye that type of power? Do we give Kanye that kind of control when he can't even conceivably control himself, which is kind of sad.
Have you ever heard The Life of Pablo, though?
I mean, come on. And that's my thing. Like, hey, you're great in an area. Kanye, I love you. You're great in an area.
I think he just needs a hug.
Get the divorce and go to Wyoming. Get the divorce and go hang out with Chappelle. For like 2-3 years, man. Just go hang out on a farm. Go do some drugs. Hang out. Don't get around the cameras. Don't get around the lights. Don't get around Kim.
Oh my God.
Don't
Kanye
get around the booty.
On drugs.
Go and just
imagine
hang out.
How good the album would be.
Dude, he's been on drugs. That's all Kids See Ghost is.
He's on.
No. Oh, we lost.
Did he just slag out?
Oh no, what happened?
Give it some time.
We'll get him back.
Crossed.
But that's just, he was sick of the Kanye talk. No, that's just it. You can't like give him that control. You got to stuff him away and let him just center himself. He needs like literally 3 years of silence.
I think Kanye's on meds. I wouldn't say he's on drugs.
Man, can you okay, so he officially bounced. Do you email him? Hey, and we're back. And he's back.
Boom. See, he knows what he's doing.
Hey, dude, come on. Frankie
If Trump had an album to promote when he got in, like if Trump released Life of Pablo, which he wouldn't, because we know how he feels.
Life of Trump.
Yeah, the Life of Trump. Yeah, if he released that, I think it would be a whole different story right now. We wouldn't have a pandemic. We wouldn't have to wear masks when we go to Popeyes. Like things would be different.
Well, I'm sure everything Trump has ever put money into, it skyrocketed to the roof once he became president. Like just people having that kind of name brand association. So like there was like Trump suits, Trump steaks, Trump cologne, obviously the Trump buildings. Like he's put his name on everything. So I'm sure being the president has upped his
It's definitely upped his fame for sure. I mean, a lot of people don't approve of it, but he's definitely become the most famous person on the planet for right or wrong.
Yeah, he's always been famous. Like, that's just what it is. Like, he made a cameo in Home Alone 2, and like rappers would rap about him and take pictures with him, and people wanted to party with him. Like, he's always been famous. He did The Apprentice. Like, he's never not been famous. His whole life, pretty much, he's always been like a mogul and person people recognize. And it's only since the past 4 years, pretty much, that he's become pretty much like a villain or whatever to anyone who is on the other side of the fence. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of very similar to Kanye West. I think that's my point, is that it's just the same exact thing. Like Kanye, even if Kanye became president promoting an album or whatever, like everything he's ever done would just become more magnified. People would be more interested in everything. So I get the incentive to do something like that.
With all the rich men that the Kardashians have got with and then subsequently ruined, would you ever think about dating a Kardashian?
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know.
Hey,
that's the best answer ever.
Hey,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, we all know.
If we click, I don't know.
Oh, on some real shit.
Click.
See, I would just do it for the fame. Yeah, you're thinking it for real.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, I'm really bad at like doing things for clout, so I don't think that would work out.
Oh man,
I thought you were gonna say I'm really bad at first dates. I was like, "Aw, Frankie."
That's so sweet.
I'm probably really bad at that too. I wouldn't know that. I don't go on dates, so.
Brutal. Yeah, I just think it's crazy that the Kardashians like screw up all these guys. Like, I'll never forget Lamar Odom doing a bunch of drugs at a brothel and nearly dying. Our
boy contemplated going out in the highest of styles, and just like, if I'm gonna go on some blow and some in a whorehouse. Dude,
apparently he was addicted to sex. Like the sex like wasn't good enough. Like having 5 women at once. He's like, no, I need to do coke and crack and meth and fuck these hoes.
Drove him to the brink where he wanted to literally go out in the highest of styles. Yes.
Which reminds me, this episode is brought to you by Sex with Hookers on Meth.
Yeah.
Visit sexwithhookers.meth.org and donate.
.meth.
.meth.
Yep.
Your lifestyle determines your death style, man.
Oh, the greatest Metallica line of maybe all time. Just kidding.
Brutal.
It's oddly true. Even though
Saint Anger. Saint Anger.
Saint Anger. It just sounds stock. It sounds regular.
It sounds stock because it's the kind of thing that like if someone said to you in passing, you'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. But saying it with like an aggressive tone just seems kind of like, all right. You know?
Did you watch the documentary? I forget what it's called.
Some kind of monster.
Of when they made Saint Anger and why the album was so terrible. Did you ever see that?
It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my entire life.
Thank you.
Yep. And hey,
interesting.
Let's be real. It's not that bad of an album. Everybody just wants to hate on it because it's different. It's so good. It is so good.
The songwriting isn't egregious. Like there's some interesting things happening on the record. It's just the snare sound is the only thing that I'm like, I cannot take too much of that. And I'm not really even a person who's not open to the concept of like trying out new things. I like hearing different shit. I'm like, wow, like that's very unique. But that's unique in a way that like you don't want to hear that for 30 minutes. You're like, nah, like it's just.
They went unique by making it sound bad.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what that's about. It sounds so isolated. It doesn't sound like it's a part of the record. It's like there's the album and then the snare sound.
I added the snare in afterwards, so it would be talked about forever.
You can actually go on YouTube and it's the entire Saint Anger album, but just the snare, and it's just the snare. It's the rest of the instruments removed.
That has to be like the most like home studio reproduced album of all time. People trying to like remix and master it.
No, there's actually a bunch. There's one where like every time there's a snare hit, it's a duck quack. There's
that's way better.
There's a bunch of different like mixtures of it. It's pretty awesome.
That's way better. Normally, this is the section where we review albums. This was kind of a weird week for albums because unless you're like really stoked on a Beyonce visual album, which I'm not even sure what the fuck that means, there wasn't really a lot of bangers this week. I happened to find a couple that I like, but Shoreline Mafia, Bay Area rappers, I really like that. Benny the Butcher released a mixtape with Gangsta Grills. I like that. Upon a Burning Body have an EP that's out. That's pretty cool. Other than that, unless you're into the Fast and Furious 9 soundtrack, there wasn't really anything cool. I'm sure Frankie listened to a ton of new music this week.
Actually, I did listen to some new stuff, but most of the new music I listen to is like I look at what artists are uploading to World Star Hip Hop, and I listen to that, and I'm always looking for like the next like fucking sickest thing that I can find on World Star. But a lot of times I'm disappointed. But Then what I like to do is I like to go to Bandcamp and I like to go to like whatever the newest uploads were and find out what bands are doing that and try to like discover things like that and discover genres and listen to like I listen to everything. I listen to classical and fucking
I always got the impression that you were a hip hop fan, so that's cool to hear.
Yeah, no, I just am a music fan. That's what it is. I don't have any like particular like genre that I really stick to. I just go with like whatever I'm feeling, pretty much.
I've noticed a lot of artists like with you, like if you're in like a metal band, you're like a lot of times they don't listen to their own genre. Like DMX back in the day, he's like rapping about chainsaws and killing people, but then he's going in his car and listening to Aretha Franklin. Um, would you like? Is there like something you lean more towards, or like a favorite artist at all?
I do have artists that I really enjoy, but I also love like the most extreme of everything. So like, there's a band called Intestinal Disgorge, which I'm sure no one fucking knows who they are, and I fuck with that band heavy. They're like really like classic, like brutal, like there's just like it's like a depraved gore grind, just like really just insane shit. And then sometimes I listen to like Aphex Twin a lot, and he's one of my favorite artists ever too. And I listen to Bones a lot. Like he's probably my number one like rap artist. Like it has been for a while. So it just depends on like what I want to hear in the moment, And then sometimes I'm just like spinning like Cold or like Breaking Benjamin or something like that. I don't know. It just depends on like whatever kind of is gonna tickle my fancy at that time.
Pretty sweet. We have now officially entered the interview portion of the podcast, so I am stoked. I've only been in 2 bands in my time. We never did anything cool or got famous at all or signed or anything. But I remember having an argument after I showed them Emmure, and I said, "This is the cool shit. This is what you need to be doing." And they wanted to, be shreddy and all this other stupid shit. It wasn't cool. Emmure would be like the perfect band for me if I was a vocalist trying to form a band because of like the aggressiveness and the style. How did you guys like settle on that? Like, how do you come to be Emmure?
I don't know how to answer this. Well, I just have to basically give props to everyone that's ever been a part of the band, pretty much. Everyone kind of brought their own thing into the mix, and we all had like our own take of what things should or could be. And just like the amalgamation of all these different influences we all had separately is kind of what ended up making the sound. And that's really it, and now obviously I'm the only surviving member from inception.
Surviving is an interesting term.
And I just really enjoy like tenacious, like raw things. Like, I just want to make things that like sound exciting. Like I don't care about like the sum to me is more important than the parts. Like I don't care like how the riff is or is played or the technicality or something. I don't give a, none of that matters to me at all. I care about how it sounds as a whole. So that's really just my end goal, is to make something that when you hear it, you're instantly pulled into it. And then when we go into a live setting, that same music you were listening to in your car or whatever, you hear it live and it translates perfectly. You're back to that place where like, fuck, it's hitting just right, So that's all I really give a shit about. I don't know how to like say how it became that. It's just kind of like a natural progression, I guess. That's really my whole mindset,
It's been really cool because even with like a huge member swap, you guys have really kept like the core sound, even with like Josh Travis playing almost a completely different style. Like you can't really say Hindsight is like super different from the Respect Issue. Besides a band like growing in different members, it's still like the core styles there. I dig it. It's really cool.
Thanks.
Hindsight came out a couple weeks ago. It was my number 1 of the week. What is new on this album compared to the stuff we've heard in the past?
Well, it was really difficult for me personally to get into the headspace of like, all right, Look at Yourself was such a bop and so many fans celebrated it, and we brought new people in and old people back, and so
it was really fast too.
I was like, so we're probably not going to top Look at Yourself in terms of like fan appeal, and I just wanted to aim towards making something that was still us at its core, like you mentioned, but just has some new emotions, some new ideas, some different takes on things that we haven't done before. So that was really it. I wanted every song that on the record to have its own identity. So when you're listening to track 1, you know it's track 1. You listen to track 10, you know it's track 10, and that's really it. I don't know how really else to explain it other than I just want it to sound like Emmure, but also sound different. I think every band attempts that. They want to be able to stay within their wheelhouse, but also deliver up something new. So I hope that in some way we accomplish that.
Definitely. I think it's really interesting that you're self-aware. Like, the last album's really good. We're not going to top that. I think a lot of bands aren't self-aware like that. So when they have like a quote-unquote classic album or their best release, they usually follow it up with a stinker because they're trying something like so over the top better. It doesn't work out. I wouldn't say that was the issue at all on Hindsight. It's a completely different project than Look at Yourself. I dig it. It's cool.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to make a Look at Yourself part 2. I don't think that would be interesting either. So I just wanted to, again, make something that was at least somewhat being like, yo, this is different and it's a whole new experience. But you don't turn the album on and go, what band is this? You know exactly what band it is. It never takes away the experience of listening to what Emmure is. So yeah, hopefully, people can still enjoy the record for years to come.
Definitely. The song that seems to stand out the most is I've Seen God. All the band name drops. Everyone on Twitter is like, oh, Frankie's beefing with all these people. Did you get a kick out of people thinking that this is about beef, or like what was the reaction to that song?
Yeah, I knew people would talk about it. That's the whole point of it, and what people don't realize about that song and a lot of Emmure songs in general is that Emmure's material lyrically is very schizophrenic. So the verse of that song has almost nothing to do with what I was initially writing. The opening lyrics of the song are "I both see and am God," which I took that from an episode of The Simpsons I was watching.
Not where I thought that came from.
Yes.
So like I was in Germany and we had a day off, and I decided to go into Amsterdam and eat mushrooms and like just hang out and shit. So I took the train to Amsterdam and like partied. But on my train ride there, I was watching The Simpsons, and in that episode, I was watching Principal Skinner goes to like some like science fair or something like that, and he ends up somehow taking some kind of hallucinogen. And the quote in the episode when he's tripping is he's talking to, I forgot what the other character's name, his superior, the Shalm or whatever his name is. He's like, he literally says, I both see and am God. And I was like, wow, that's such a profound and yet like clever way to describe what it's like to be like heavily heavily influenced by an LSD or mushrooms or something like that, where you do in a sense feel like a connection with God. You feel like you see God, but you also feel like you are a part of God. So that's kind of where that lyric came from. But then when he got to that point in the song where the rap verse happens, I had been working on I thought it'd be cool to just make a rap verse just filled with band names, because obviously Emmure is the kind of word that like you'll never hear it in the real world. Like so like it's our band name is so obscure that like you'll never have the chance to put it in a rap. So I was like, how about I just take all these band names that are like regular words and I just make a rap verse out of it. So when we got to that part of the song, we're in the studio, it was an empty slot, and he's like, what lyrics are gonna go here? I'm like, I don't know yet. And I was like, you know what? I think I got something. And I've been working on this for a little while. And I knew people would be like, oh, like, what does this mean? He hates his band, his band hates him, whatever. So like I knew it would cause a frenzy, and obviously I like pretty much all those bands. I think they're all like dope. So it's not a thing for anybody. It's just something creatively I thought would be interesting to do. And again, it's funny how even though they are two separate ideas, when I mesh them together, it seems like one cohesive thing. So
first of all, it was fucking beautiful. The entire track is beautiful, man.
That shit's funny to me now.
It's great. It's great. And so let me connect these dots real quick. You were tripping on mushrooms while you watched the episode of The Simpsons where they were tripping? And they said the quote?
I was on my way to go.
Oh, okay.
Pre-tripping.
Bro, yeah, I was about to say, dude, that was God talking to you. That was God telling you that you are the scene God, and that it is your journey to be on forever. Like,
well, when I was on mushrooms, that line from The Simpsons, like really, like it became even like more of like a blossoming thing in my head. I was like, wow, like that really hits home. So I was like, wow, that's really cool. So we were writing that song. That was the lyric I chose for that song. And like I said, when we got to that break in the song where there was no lyrics, I'm in the studio with my engineer, and he's like, so what are you thinking? I'm like, I think I have some of that more for this. And it's interesting how like then these two separate ideas, when you mesh them together, seem like one cohesive thing. So
Hey, and it was great, man. You were mentioning being in Germany when that was going down. We have a fan question actually from Dayton. What's your favorite country to play in? Real quick, if you can drop that on us.
oh, that's really hard to answer. I mean,
Because you're gonna offend all the other ones.
no, it's not, it's just that I don't even know what a favorite thing is, because everywhere we go, we're so blessed. We have a ton of people that support us and want to come see us. I mean, everywhere from literally Florida to Shanghai, there's hundreds of people that fuck with the band. So it's hard to say what stands out. I honestly, in terms of like just my personality and what I like to like be around, I love being in Japan. Performing there is cool, but even if I wasn't performing there, I'd just go and hang out there. So I'll say Japan for the sake of having an answer, but it's really hard to say what our favorite place is, because again, we're celebrating so many places. It's pretty great, you know.
That's awesome, man. And you've definitely, I think, made an impact in all those places. So it's good that they've gone that far and that you're able to feel that way everywhere that you go, you know? Hey,
Why
so
am I not surprised to hear Japan with all the Street Fighter tattoos and the lyrics, Tetsumaki
I'm a total
Shibuya and all
weeb, bro.
that?
I'm a weeb.
So hey, what's up next for Emmure, man? You dropped the album. Obviously, nobody's touring, nobody's playing festivals or doing shows. Are you waiting for that to kind of kick back around? Do you guys have any virtual stuff planned? What do you got coming up?
Right now, on a personal level, I'm just kind of taking some time to like readjust to what's happening in the world and not really thinking too much about like what's going to happen with the band. I would like to get another record out. That's kind of my end goal, I guess, in terms of like what I want to see the band do. If we can tour again, that would be nice. I don't know when that will be a reality, but if I can't do that anytime soon, I would like sooner than later to put another piece of music out, because I've been doing a ton of writing. And since the release of Hindsight and seeing like the feedback of the record, it totally like pushed my mind in a whole new direction. So I'm really excited to share with people like where my mind's at now with the band. I think they'll be really excited.
Awesome.
We interviewed our friend Casey Sable was on the show a few weeks back. He said he recorded, I think, a song or two with you around 2010. He doesn't really remember. We started spouting off all sorts of album titles, and he wasn't sure what it was. He said you came in and you one-taked it in the booth. Like, is that regular for you? Do you go in and Jay-Z, Lil Wayne the verse, or like how's that happen for you?
Yeah, most of the time it's just one take.
That's fucking hard.
Oh no, yes, that is epic. That is
Your
so
engineer must love you.
Yeah, you could ask Joey Sturgis and anyone else who's ever recorded me. They'll say the same thing. I just kind of go in and knock it out. I don't know. I never had a problem in that sense of like getting in there just immediately feeling comfortable. I don't know what it's like. I'm not in the studio when other bands are recording, so I have no clue what other people are experiencing. But it's definitely flattering to hear people, give me props or something like that, which I don't even really think it's that special. I just do my thing, you know.
I just think it's cool because it's efficient, because there's nothing worse than when the red light goes on and someone freezes up. And of course, like, that shouldn't be happening at a band of like your level, but that shit's crazy to me. Go in, one take it.
Yeah, for sure.
Emmure is one of the few bands that I know of that had success and survived being on Victory Records. I know at one point you guys even re-signed there, which I thought was crazy, and then you produced...
We re-signed twice, by the way.
Twice?
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I only knew of the one, and I know, like, what, Speaker of the Dead, Slave to the Game, I think was a part of it.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I'll tell you the story. So we had a 4-record contract. We did Gallows, Respect Issue Felony, and Speaker of the Dead. And then because of the success of Speaker and everything before that, pretty much they were like, yo, like, stay with us. Let's do another album. So they wrote us a big fat check. And we're like, all right, cool, we'll do it again. And then we were free agents after that one record, after Eternal Enemies. They were like, no, come back again. And so they wrote an even fucking fatter check.
Dang.
And that's where Slave to the Game came from. The only reason I'm not with Victory now, I like Tony. Tony's an alright guy. But with most bands, pretty much, like, especially when you're a band like from America and you want to become more successful in other territories, the problem with Victory Records is that they don't really have a presence in other countries like Australia, Europe, Japan. Like, they're not a known or recognized brand or a label there, and they also don't really have the on-hand assets or tools to blow your band up there. So because the longevity of a band like I'm saying, especially from America, is to become more successful outside of your home territory. Signing with Nuclear Blast was the best bet because they are a monster in Europe, Australia, Japan, every other place. And Sharp Tone Records, which is what people usually associate us with, is like the sister company of Nuclear Blast. So they handle all the American territory that Nuclear Blast never really had a hand in. So the matrimony of those two brands together was just the best option for Emmure moving forward, you know.
Has Sean Keith managed you guys from the get-go?
I can't believe you said his first and last name so candidly like that.
Am I getting shot? Yeah, Sean Sumerian.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just it's rare.
No, it happened again. See, he was right. I shouldn't have said his name.
Dang.
Oh, that's okay. So that scares the shit out of me for two reasons. Because back in like 2009, I used to do a lot of business over AIM, and I actually knew Sean Sumerian's AIM, and I'd communicate back and forth. He promised me an Emmure interview that didn't happen, and I was like, oh man, this sucks, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, don't say a fucking word though. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, he's big time. What I was getting to is I've been told that. I don't know if it's true, but I always thought it was super interesting that like Sean Sumerian, the guy who co-founded Sumerian Records, had a hand in managing Emmure, but Emmure was never on Sumerian. So, and then from the outside looking in, we just learned a lot about Victory. But from the outside looking in, you're like, well, how did they end up anywhere of like Victory?
It's so funny because Frankie is literally the third person that has said this exact quote. I'm going to get him in when I say this. That Frankie, we understand
just scared
that
the shit out of me.
We understand that we said a no word.
No, you didn't. No, I think it's really funny. You didn't. No, yeah, I've known Sean for a long time. He started working with the band and started managing us right around the time Felony came out, like right before the album dropped. So he's been, it's been like 11 years that he's been like on my team and very closely working with Emmure and myself. So I got a lot of love and respect for that guy. He's been a huge supporter of me and has always had my back with like everything I've ever wanted to do. So he's a really great guy to have in your corner.
I just thought it was really interesting that he co-founded Sumerian, yet Emmure has never been a Sumerian band, so it must have been something interesting there.
Well, I think that it would have been a conflict of interest for us to be managed also managed by Sean, but also be on Sumerian. Plus, we were already like very much in bed with Victory Records. Like, you know, also Ash Abelson never sent me an offer, so it's that part too. So I don't think it's like too far fetched to just
He was probably too busy making movies.
You're inside.
Right. Well, I don't think at that point he was in the movie business yet, but again, I think it would have been a conflict of interest if we had been in both seats, but. Again, we were the Victory, so it was never even like you would have thought. So.
There's actually there's a bounty out for a real copy of the of that movie he did, the fucking Barry movie. What was it called?
The one with beer sack in it?
Yeah.
What there's like an alternate cut or something?
Isn't he the Sumerian guy did that movie, right? That was the whole. No,
something about a devil. I don't remember the name, but I didn't watch it.
They were trying to find a hard copy of it on Facebook the other day. There was a shit ton of people from bands back in the day that were like, "Where's that video at? We gotta find that video." And I was like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" And it was that stupid Barry. They were looking for a hard copy of that Barry.
I didn't have people like say that was like a super cool movie that you had to see. So that's kind of interesting.
I was like, what the fuck? It dawned on me. You're also like the third person I know that has said in quote, Tony, he's an all right guy from Victory Records. You actually gave us a lot of insights of Victory.
I just learned a lot.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, man, that's the fat checks are always nice. Yes, that'll always keep people re-signing. For anybody out there starting a label, you want good artists to come back, sign them fat checks. I feel like that should be number one right there for y'all.
You guys had success, and it clearly went well. You got the fat checks and whatnot. Did you ever think it was weird that there were other Victory bands that had like the complete opposite experience?
Well, the thing with Victory is that you get what you sign up for, and we always knew, we knew we were shaking hands with the devil. Like, it's not like we were like, oh my god, like it's over. Like, it's not like that, you know. And look, our deal wasn't that. Like, we had complete control of our merch. Like, they didn't like tax us on our touring merch. They would give us
unique.
They would give us CDs to sell. They would like pretty much go above and beyond to promote every album. We were doing tons of press. Like the internal team of Victory was really good. The art people, PR people, like it's a good home for a band that wants to like take it serious. Like if you are a good band with work ethic and you're willing to realize that there's no like red carpet of waiting for you when you get out of your fucking 15-passenger van, then like you'll be all right. And we were just crazy enough to be like, all right, fuck it, we'll do it. Like, and just take the hit of like not really getting residuals from like, at that time, hard sales. Like streaming wasn't really even a thing yet. So yeah, I mean, it was not a bad experience. I understand that like, there are bands that are like, fuck touring this and that. It's like, you get what you sign up for. Like it's all in plain English, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you sign the deal and then they bamboozle you, let you know you get exactly what you're getting. And for us, it just worked out that we were so fucking crazy and willing to like deal with like not having any money and living like fucking bums for like years and years and years, which a lot of bands and young people are not really keen to that. You know, they kind of tap out at a certain point. And Victory Records is that kind of label where they're going to test you to see if you can fucking hack it, you know, like, don't expect to get like some fucking magic fucking, $10,000 check because you decided to go on tour for a whole summer. It doesn't fucking work like that. You know, like if your fucking band is dope, hopefully you're getting on some good tours and hopefully at some point a fucking agent wants to fuck with you and actually help you build your brand. Because Emmure was DIY, even when we were on Victory. Like we still were booking our own shows. Like everything was just us. But having the co-sign of Victory put us in this kind of like bracket where like we went from like being a support band headlining a few shows to being like, oh, Emmure's playing their headlining. Like every show, oh, Emmure's on the headline. Just because we're on Victory. It was just for that alone. Yeah. So yeah, I mean again, it was just us being like really stubborn and kind of understanding the situation we're in. And I'll be honest, it was good like for us. And there was never a time where Tony or anyone in that office was ever like, oh, you guys can't write a song like that or do this or whatever. Like, they always were in our corner. So again, Tony's an extremely competitive, kind of wild dude, which is why Victory is like, or was whatever, like one of the biggest indie labels ever.
Yeah, maybe the biggest.
Yeah, they're big bands.
Yeah.
So,
at least for namesake, for namesake, they are. You know.
I get people's beef with him and stuff, but he doesn't do anything that isn't in fucking Preston Hanks. So
hey man, you've been dropping nuggets all show. A bunch of sound words and sound advice. What are your rules of the road for anybody that's looking to get a band started, get a band going, get into the tour life, get their band signed, start making deals? What are your rules of the road? What do bands have to know? Like your top 3 or 5 points of advice, man.
Be kind to everyone, no matter what position they're in. You never know who's going to be like there for you in the long term. And I guess just be ready to like sacrifice everything, like literally everything in your life for your dream, whatever that dream may be. And that's not just being a touring band. It's just like everything in general. Like you gotta be willing to like put everything aside and be laser focused on something. And we just were all so fucking just like stubborn and crazy and decided and never let up, like we just knew if we kept pushing on that we'd get people's attention. And I don't know, and varied in degree of faith and belief, I guess, but we all had that commonality. I guess that's really my only 2 major points of advice. I don't know how else to tell people about it, but I don't think people are really realize what they're signing up for when they say, oh, I want to be in a band, I want to go on tour. It's like, all right, well, are you ready to like miss everyone's birthday, miss funerals? Are you ready to like not have a fucking like legit girlfriend for like years, or like have a fucking job that fucking pays you, or like possibly piss away like years of your life or something that might not even fucking work out? It's a crazy risk that you take when you chase this kind of thing down. But if you have the right attitude, and I think that you really kind of like stay steadfast, I think you take a great places. So I don't know, it's like I guess I just always had that like faith in myself that I would be able to make a name for myself in music at some capacity. So I don't know how other people conduct themselves, but again, my piece of advice: be kind and be ready to give it all up for whatever you want out of life.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
I can attest to that first rule. Be kind and be respectful, because I mean, in the shallow aspect, you never know who's going to make it. There's been times when I was friends with someone, I helped someone out who really wasn't anything, and then they ended up being in a position of power in the touring industry. So that's been interesting. I've always thought it was funny how local bands, like an unsigned band, they think the end game is getting signed as if that's the pinnacle, because it's far from it. It's always like you got to get signed, and then you have to start putting in the work as a real band, as a real business. It sounds like you guys might have actually had a harder time after you were signed because, like you said, you were broke and you were going out on the road and trying to get your name out there. Was it more difficult afterwards, like being on that grind?
Well, no one gave a shit about Emmure for a while. Like, even before we got signed to Victory, like, we would kind of, like, you know, send our demos and stuff to labels, and we had an EP and we did it independently, and we're touring on and stuff like that. And people just were like, no, we're not interested. And Victory was, like, pretty much the first and only, like, major name that was like, yeah, we want you guys to come, like, you know, showcase for us. And then obviously we signed for 6 albums after that. But I don't know, it's a grind, man. Like, it never lets up. Like, you're always, like, having to, like, sacrifice shit and cut corners and get used to, like, you know, living impoverished pretty much. I mean, you kind of have to adapt, you know, if you want that lifestyle. I mean, look, you can go get, like, a secure job as, like, a garbage man. Like, you can go do that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. Or you could, again, like, live out of a backpack and, like, eat, you know, fucking McDonald's for, like, 5 years straight, and then hopefully something comes of it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how to say it was harder after. Yeah, I mean, it just the range difficulty is stayed the same. You know, there's no time to celebrate. You know, all there is work ethic. Yes, to me, celebrating is just like it's for children. It's like, you know, like, what is there to celebrate? There's still so much more to do, you know. So that, I guess, that's just kind of been our attitude. At least my attitude the whole time is like, yeah, like, sure. Like, even when money comes or whatever, like, that doesn't fucking make shit easier. It just means you have a bigger thing to worry about. You know, you have a bigger pot to, like, make sure it stays together so you can continue to grow the brand, make your show better, buy better gear, you know what I'm saying? Like, fix your van. Like, it's a crazy ass investment of your time and your life and energy. And I would never deter people from it, but I just hope people understand that it's not like some, like, magic road of validation and attention that gets you, like, to stardom. It's a lot of sacrifice, you know?
It's not all fun and games, and this is why a lot of bands break up before they
I
ever.
can't hear you guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah,
We can hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear you guys at all. Let me see if I can fix that.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Great.
Here, I got you in the private chat.
Oh man, we fucked it up.
No,
He's got a good
man,
point
he's
though,
good.
because being, like he says, being in a band. I mean, this dude, Emmure is a big fucking deal in this scene. They've toured.
I got nothing. I got no sound from you guys.
How many
the hell happened?
I don't know
private
what's
chat?
wrong with
Like,
this thing. Here, hold on. Give me one more moment. Hold on a second. I got this.
He's telling us, like, he went out on the road, like Goodbye to the Gallows, The Respect Issue, Felony, records that us as fans probably considered to be a big deal, and they're broke on the road, like eating McDonald's. They're not having, like, steak and lobster. They're not a famous fucking Rolling Stones or Metallica type band. It is really difficult to be in the band.
well, yeah,
I've never been in a successful band.
That. Bands at this stature should understand that. Bands at this stature should
Someone
understand
like that, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm more speaking to local bands, unsigned bands. Okay, for instance, the band that wants to have merch ideas before they have a song written. That's always fucking annoying. You don't have your head on straight. I know a lot of local bands out here especially love to try to put out a music video for every fucking song. That shit is stupid. Okay? Like, bands at this level have, like, 0 to no budget for a music video. So you're not going to have a Hype Williams, Busta Rhymes cool ass video. You're going to be in a warehouse, you're going to be in a forest. So why waste your time putting out a shitty video when you could just have a lyric video? People understand your lyrics, they sing it at your shows, and the shit works. I tell people that all the time. There's no point in going and booking a fucking music video or having Ladies of Metal in it, because they're not going to do anything for you to promote it. They don't give a fuck either. Like, I don't know if you know that shit company. Shouts to Ivana. Sue me.
I have Windows 98. You gotta forgive me.
Oh my god, you're lying.
Oh shit.
Does he hear us?
I hear you guys.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
cool,
God.
man. That's awesome.
Okay. I only have a couple of questions left. One of the things I've always wanted to know, because I came in on the Respect issue and that record like blew me out the water. I fucking broke up with my ex over it. It was awesome. How did Kurt Angle get on the cover? Was that a move by the band or the label?
So, for some reason, I guess Tony had a friend or some connection to TNA Wrestling, and so Victory and TNA decided to team up and kind of use each other as a cross promotion platform. And when we were doing this is so funny. When we were doing that record, I remember, like, you know, the band would kind of always look to me like, all right, Frank, like, what's the album art? What's this going to be about? Blah, blah, blah. And I always felt I had like pretty decent ideas, and then a lot of times they just get shut down. And I'd be like, you know, I was like, dude, you know what? Like, it was my drummer Joe. I was like, Joe, like, go ahead, Joe. Tell me your idea. What should it be? And he literally, I'll never forget where we were. I think it was like we're outside the van. So we're on tour somewhere. But I distinctly remember staying outside the van. But he's like, all right, I think the record should be like a boxer. And I just like, okay. That's what it is then. Like, this silver conversation, that's what it's gonna be. I'm so over talking about it. And we presented that to the label, like, all right, this is what the album cover is gonna be. It's gonna be a fucking box or whatever. It's whatever. It's, don't get me started on nonsensical it is. I was like, yeah, that's what it is. And so what they did was they're like, all right, cool, well, check it out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have the box should be Kurt Angle. And it literally was a surprise to us. I was like, fucking seriously, like Kurt Angle, like yes. It was not something that we kind of reached for. It was just the label being like, yo, you know what we could do? We have this in with TNA Wrestling. We can get this guy to be on the album cover, and then we'll use your music to be his ring. So Emmure played when Kurt Angle was walking to the ring for the pay-per-view, and it was the music for the pay-per-view event. So it was just a big cross-promotion thing.
Hell yes.
I was watching TNA at the time, so that was super fucking cool to me. Are you a wrestling fan?
Yeah, actually, I am a wrestling fan, but I'm like an ebb and flow wrestling fan. Like when I was a kid,
we all are.
Loved it. And then I'm like, this shit's whack. I'm over it. And then something happens, like I'm watching it somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I'm fucking in again. Like it just pulls me back in. So right now I'm at a stage where like I don't really follow it. I don't really care. But I still am like retroactively a fan. Like I still will like go watch like classic matches and like talk to like my one wrestling nerd friend and ask him like, yo, what do you think about this? Like, because what fascinates me now to wrestling isn't what happens in the ring and whatever, the showmanship. What fascinates me about wrestling is the business, like the way that the characters move and how they build the brand. Like that's what pulls me in now. So it went from me being like, I love the Undertaker to being like, is the Undertaker going to wrestle anymore? That makes me more curious, you know.
The dark side of the ring stuff, the behind the scenes stuff that's exciting, right? The stuff that you don't want to believe is real as a kid is the stuff that's exciting now that you're an adult. You're like, oh shit, the real shit that goes on behind the scenes. I have to ask, now that we know you're a closeted wrestling fan, what's your favorite match of all time?
I think it might be Razor Ramon's debut match. Just because.
What a throwback! Yes. We just watched that like 2 weeks ago at my pad. Yeah. Wow.
Either that.
The first episode of Raw. It was the first episode of Raw, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's either that match or the first match that the 1-2-3 Kid got over. Which is also another Razor match. But both are
You're speaking to my heart, bro.
I'm gonna go and drop a third one just because New Jack from ECW is my favorite wrestler ever. Him versus fucking
Vic Grimes.
Vic Grimes, yeah. That's just
the brain damage match.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Shout out to New Jack because I'm friendly with New Jack and he's a really cool guy.
Shout out to New Jack, first New Jack shout out on the show. And hey, that dark side of the ring was one of the toughest to watch because for me it was like, man, this is a kid that just loved wrestling his entire life and unfortunately has just loved it so much, he's made
That
a
he'll
name for
stab a
himself
motherfucker.
where they will not work with him. Like the biggest names will not work with him, and it's so unfortunate because he just loves wrestling and like.
New
Fuck,
Jack is
man.
the shit, dude. If Emmure played his theme when he came out and like beat people up with a shopping cart of weapons, that would have been
Dude,
ill.
Could you imagine?
But
an
you would have
Emmure
had to been a
cover?
band in like '97.
No, but you guys can remake that song. You guys can.
Oh my God. Speaking of
That
getting
would be
sued for
dope.
copyright.
Frankie, hey, come on, you can make that happen. dude.
You what you don't know is I've already talked about it.
Yes.
I've already talked about it.
Yes.
There's a whole covers album that we haven't done yet.
Yes. Hey, can we have like one or two? Can we have one or two? Can you
Oh,
give us a couple?
other ideas?
Yeah. yeah.
Cover songs.
One of the other songs I wanted to do was "My Hero" by Foo Fighters.
Oh, that's.
I don't even know how that
legit,
would
dude.
go as an
Oh,
Emmure
it's,
song. Oh my
it's hard.
God.
That song goes hard. Also, what other song goes super hard that people don't know about? Oh, "Murder Was the Case" by Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Any hip hop song that you would cover would be immediately sick as shit, but
Yeah,
also any new metal song that Emmure covered would be sick as shit.
Yeah, we at one point were gonna do a Korn cover, but there were some major discrepancies internally, and it never happened. Like,
What song?
I was like, we should do "Clown."
Ooh,
But the
Freak on a
fucking-
Leash.
Interesting.
Freak
but
on a
the-
Leash.
Freak on a Leash would have been cool, but I think "Clown" would have matched more with my tone and like what I could do vocally, which in my opinion, is what makes the cover like really
Yeah.
pop off.
Mhm.
But we ended up doing our own version of "Got the Life," and
Oh.
it just didn't carry well. Like, we finished it, and I was like, this is not gonna feel like. I love Jonathan Davis, like his voice, stuff like that, but like how he sings in that song specifically is so unique to him that I can't replicate that. I don't think anyone can properly. So it just didn't really come across right. Plus, it was more of just kind of like copy paste. Like, we didn't do anything with the music to make it like sound like a mirror, just literally sound like a Korn cover, but like it sounded like me singing a Korn song to the Korn track.
I know it's a
I get frustrated thinking about it because if we had done "Clown," it would have been sick, but everyone else in my band just did not understand.
I'm gonna be forever crossing my fingers for an Emmure cover album, but I know how much of a bitch that can be to go and get the rights and the licensing for all those songs.
The only way we could ever do it is if we made it free. So
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's probably what.
Pandemic's the perfect time.
It would have to be a passion. It would have to be a passion project.
Yeah, it would have to be like some kind of link on Bandcamp.
Hey,
like
you got-
the Emmure covers album.
You got two more streams right here, man. I don't know. I feel like a good Limp Bizkit. I feel like you could get some Korn. I
I'll
feel
leave
like
it on all night. I
Deftones-
don't care.
A Deftones cover or a
I would like
Slipknot
to hear
cover would be
Emmure
dope.
cover a song that's actually like a crappy pop song and turn it good.
Well, yeah,
You got-
another song we were gonna do. I'm giving out secrets now. Is "Icebox" by Omarion.
Oh,
That was another song I was working on too. So yeah, there's a lot of ideas for that that's just in the chamber that just hasn't been fired off yet.
Tell me that it would have been recorded like Icebox Where My Heart Used to Be, comma, bitch.
No, but that's an interesting take. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Have you ever counted how many times you say bitch on a record? Because I love it. I fucking love it.
That's funny. I don't know. Someone has to add them up now. I'm sure it's a good amount.
Oh my God, through the whole catalog. You heard it. Dayton, get on it.
Is there a?
I
is
lost
there...
you guys again with the sound. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
But you're off
Oh
fix it.
man, every time I touch my dick, we lose them. I gotta, dude, I only
was
had
just
one
gonna say-
question.
I was just gonna say, is there a specific woman behind every bitch on here?
Dude,
He's like,
as
yeah,
many times
Stacey,
as,
Karen, Jessica.
as many times as he
Penelope.
says bitch in all the albums, it's gotta be different people.
Yeah.
You fucking bitch.
Man, our most technically disruptive episode, but maybe our best.
You know what? I think the episode with Chris Qualls had more technical difficulties because we can
That's
still
true.
hear Frankie. It sounds good, but he just loses us.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't
then,
know. I literally just want to ask him what his least favorite Emmure song is. They always have an interesting answer for that because it's like, well, obviously, fans love the catalog, but you're performing them every night. So you've got to be sick of your own material by then.
I'm gonna say Rough Justice.
I'm
gonna say Rough Justice. Is the
I don't
right
even
answer.
want to say what I think the answer is.
What do
So
you think it
it's
is?
Like RJ Deep Throat or something.
Why?
R2 Deep Throat. Just
I could see that.
yeah, just because of like past drama. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I love the subject matter.
Hey, I wonder.
Why am I small? What'd you do to me?
I'm just trying to see what would happen.
Oh, when you take away. Hey,
that doesn't work.
Oh, can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens to my computer, but
it's all good. I'm gonna get you a free Windows XP copy, bro. I just want to know, what is your favorite Emmure song and what is your least favorite Emmure song? Because you got to hear them all the time.
I don't know. My favorite, honestly, and this is the answer I've had for years, is the song I haven't written yet. That's my favorite Emmure song. The one that's just sitting there waiting to be birthed. Least favorite, I don't want to say because I don't even know what the answer is. There's a lot of material that like I don't think is that strong, but I'll let the fans figure that stuff out. I don't think it's fair for an artist to say like what is or isn't about their catalog, because then it kind of like depletes the value for someone who might really enjoy it. So I'd be careful to answer that question.
Valid.
Wow,
I would think it'd be
it.
like more of a gem, like, oh, this is the one Frankie doesn't like. I'm gonna listen to it really loud today.
No, that's cool. I'd be interested. I'm more interested to see what other people think is like the weakest link,
Or when you play it live, you just get a standing ovation, right? Though everybody knows you hate it.
They're all
you
standing. There's no sitting. There's no assigned seating at an Emmure show.
No, but I mean like an illustrious 10-minute clap off where it's just like, yes, Frankie, we knew it was a lot of work. We knew you hated it. We knew it wasn't what you wanted, but you did it for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No. That's never happened, thankfully.
All right. Well,
do you have any crazy tour stories, anything wild that happened to you in the past couple years? I mean, I'm sure there's an ultimate crazy tour story. I don't mean to make you go back like 15 years or nothing.
All right, I have one story that I can always call back to that I think is pretty wild. So the first time we ever went to Canada, it was just in 2005 or 6 or something like that.
Dang. Okay.
We went to the border, and we had never ever gone to Canada before. So this is all new world for us. And we go to the counter, and the guy's like, all right, like, whatever, like, give your passports or whatever. And then he's like, all right, cool. All right, you guys can go through. I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, yeah, you're good. I'm like, all right, fine. And he didn't know that we actually didn't go through, like, the first part of the border process. We just skipped it somehow. So we
skipped the U.S. side?
I have no idea what happened. All I know is that he should not have let us through. So we're laughing, like, oh my God, that was so easy. Everyone said it'd be so hard to get in, yada, yada. So we're driving, and then maybe like 10 minutes into the drive, like on the highway, cop car from all directions coming behind us, in front of us, like just swarming us. Are you guys hearing my phone in the background? I'm sorry.
A little bit. I'm sure it's important.
No one ever calls me. That's why I'm looking at it. Like, why would anyone call me? But so what am I saying with the story? So anyway, the cops come in all directions, pulling out guns, like, don't fucking move, yada yada. And they're like, we have no idea what happened. It turns out they never were supposed to let us go through the border that easily, and they turned us around and made us go back. Then they did let us in, but our first time in Canada was police and guns drawn. So
wow,
welcome to Canada.
Who even knew that the Canadian police had guns? I had no fucking idea.
They're strapped. And yeah, it's just crazy coming from all the off ramp everywhere, just like woo woo woo, because like we just pretty much just like bailed on the border, and they let us go. It wasn't like we were being nefarious. We were just like, sorry, we don't know what happened. Like, so they thankfully they were cool, and they weren't like, get out of the ground. They just were like came into the van.
Get the fuck out of the ground, scumbag.
Yeah, none of that happened.
Canada would never do that. They're way too nice, man.
Something coming at you on horses or something.
Canada, like, I can understand how that happened, though. Like, I drive bandwagons. I have to do, like, the long process of going into Canada. And there's been, like, the last time I was there, I hope no one from the Mounties is listening, accidentally smuggled weed back into the States. I didn't even know it was still in my van. I'd cleaned it out. But, like, it's just wild, like, how
one time we were going back through the border, and this is, like, 2015 or 14 or something. And a person who was working for us left the tour to go do something at home, some incident happened, whatever. And so they left. We go to Canada, and we get through just fine. And someone before, when we were still in the States, someone had gifted me with an Emmure bong, like a glass piece. And
Nice.
like whatever, we got through Canada with it just fine. Like it's just a piece of glass, really, and it can't really
No residue. It's clean.
Right. So anyway, we get in, we're fine. But on our way out, they decide to do a very, very thorough check of the vehicle we're in, this big bandwagon or whatever, and they find the dude who left the tour. They find his little canister that he's been keeping weed in. They find crumbs of weed, like nothing, dust, right? But that makes them fucking search the whole motherfucker like deep, and they find the bong and everything. And like I didn't know that they found it yet. We're sitting in the what's it called, the passport office, whatever, the border office. We're sitting there, and all of a sudden I see them come out of the back room with the bong and shit, and I'm like, oh fuck, like we're fucked. So like they're like, whose bong is this? I'm like, that's mine. And they were cool. They were just like, all right, well, we found a little weed and found this bong, but like, whatever. It wasn't like they found like some insane amount of drugs. They just happened to come across the shit.
It wasn't a big drug bust.
They
just more paperwork.
They let me keep the bong, which is pretty nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've gone through there. I toured like for the past 4 years. I've been going with reggae bands, and of course the bandwagon smelled like bud. And we go through there, and they go, "So we need to search your bus again because it smells like narcotics." And I wanted to jump up and say, "Weed's not a narcotic," but that's how they get you. So I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Got through just fine.
Little did you know, Frankie, the Mounties are just huge felony fans. They're like, you know what? We like
Sunday
you, Frankie.
bacon just does it for them, dude.
We like you. You're a good kid, and they sent you on your way.
Dude, the people that work border in Canada are like the most condescending people. Sometimes they're just like, "You're an man, that's cool." They ask they'll ask you a bunch of questions to like act like they're actually interested, and just kind of give you like, "Yeah."
They're like, "What do you do?" Yeah, I made a bit. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they asked me. They're like, "How long are you in Canada?" I don't know. A couple days. How many days? I don't fucking know. A couple days.
And they always want to ask what your band name is, just to be like, "Never heard of it." Every time,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're nobody.
Hey, they do the same shit to like the Rolling Stones though. The Rolling Stones could say that same shit, and they'd be like, "Never heard of it."
Yeah.
No,
I've been telling them that I'm with Skillet for the past 7 years, so fuck them.
Skillet.
I just say I'm one of the guys in Slipknot. They let me right through.
No, because then they ask where your mask is. So what's next for you, Frankie? Hindsight's out right now. It's dope as shit. You're the scene god. What do you got going on? Just pandemic stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in the same shit boat as everybody else in the world, hoping that things get better and that, normalcy, whatever normal ends up looking like. Hopefully I'm healthy enough to survive that long to see it happen. That's really what's next for me. But in terms of Emmure, I know I said it before. I don't know when we're going to be able to play live again. There's no like virtual tour or anything like that set for us. I would like to have a new record out sooner than later. I know people waited 3 years for this one, and I'm pretty reinvigorated, I should say, to make something new. So hopefully I can have that happen sooner than later. But yeah, it's just going on.
So less than a 3-year wait. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I would like for it to be either next year or at the latest 2022.
And if there's not, then go back and listen to the previous catalog because it's all sick, all of them. There's like, dude, you're almost up to 10 albums now. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah, I recently Googled like metal band with most records released. Technically, through pure technicality, it's Buckethead. He has like something like 300 albums or something like that is released.
Whoa, gross.
Yeah, but anyway, but like then there's people like Motorhead, I think is lower on the list in the top 10 who did like 20 or 30 or something like that. So it'd be cool if Emmure can like be one of those bands where it just have like this huge body of work, but we'll see what happens.
God, imagine what the material sounds like at the end of that. You guys are like full-blown dubstep and shit.
The ultimate.
No, it would definitely still be dark and impressive, but never enough.
Hey, Frankie, I don't know if you hear this often, man. You're a fucking legend. You're a fucking icon.
Yeah, legendary metalcore vocalist. We can go ahead and say that. It's been a while.
Yeah, you are someone that definitely within the music industry has like a stamp of infamy, I believe, man. And I appreciate you doing this. This is fucking a phenomenal interview. I feel like that you are a perfect representation of just angry and aggressive music all wrapped into one, man. And this couldn't have been a better interview to.
But he's not an angry dude. It's crazy.
You're not, yeah. And that's what's beautiful, man. You had words of wisdom. You had great shit to bring to the table. You fucking dropped a bunch of nuggets of knowledge for anybody that's aspiring, looking to be an artist or a musician and make it in the world. Any last words, man? What do you have to say before you sign off? And where can they find you as well? The music, Emmure, all that.
Well, I don't do plugs for myself, but I hope that you guys find success in this, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Hey,
Thank you so much, Frankie.
Man.
I will plug his socials on social media. So look for that.
Emmure
Hindsight
Cult,
is in
obviously.
stores now. Go buy 8
Yes.
physical copies of it. Go
Yes.
back and buy Felony and Respect issue too. Fuck it.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, we appreciate you, man. Matt, you have any other sign-offs before we get out of here?
At iHateTheScene on Instagram. You can find me on this shitty Twitter handle because some dumb son of a bitch stole the name I
Fuck
wanted.
you, Jason Stallman. I'm sick of your shit. Give us back our name.
Pretty sure that's not his name, but fuck that guy. iHateTE the scene. I hate the scene. iHateTheScene.com. You can catch all the live streams on Facebook.com/iHateTheScene. We are on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and Hindsight. Again, Emmure Hindsight is on iTunes right now. If you have Apple Music, there's no fucking excuse that you're not streaming it all night. If you go to bed, put it on mute and then keep streaming the motherfucker.
There you
Thanks,
go. There
guys.
you go. Brian of Death is where you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and the Common Chaos for my podcast. Frankie, we can't thank you enough. Thank you for doing this again.
He's currently writing lyrics
we
to
are-
the next album.
Yeah, I fucking know, and it better be a fucking banger. And the cover album better be coming quick. So
Oh my
just letting
God,
you
dude,
know
the
that,
cover
just so you know, you've opened a can of worms, and that's all we're coming at you with from now on.
Thanks.
Oh,
It's in the
All
works,
right.
I promise.